focuses on tariffs. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. Many are concerned about a recession and a collapsing export market as President Trump continues imposing tariffs. But counselor to the president, Peter Navarro, tells NBC's Meet the Press he's balancing the global market with his moves.
The world cheats us. They've been cheating us for decades. They cheat us with tariffs, higher tariffs. But more importantly, they cheat us with the so-called non-tariff barriers. It's the VAT taxes, the dumping, the currency manipulation.
On that same program, Democratic Senator Cory Booker saying the president's economic agenda is not living up to his campaign promises.
He said on day one he would lower prices. This is going to increase the average family in America's prices from $4,000 to $5,000 of more expenses to the American family.
Meanwhile, soybean farmers in the U.S. are afraid they could lose business because of the tariff war with China, which is their biggest customer. President Trump received a warm welcome at a UFC event in Miami last night, and he got a clean bill of health.
We heard from President Trump around 2:30 last night as he made his way back to Miami on Air Force One. He said that he spoke to all the fighters, calling them a modern-day warrior. The crowds erupted as he walked into the arena with his grandchildren. Joining him at that fight was Elon Musk, RFK Jr., FBI Director Kash Patel, and other members of the president's inner circle. As for President Trump's health, the results of his annual physical released this morning says he is in excellent cognitive and physical health with his active lifestyle.
Fox's Dana Marie McNichol. Gas prices have risen 18 cents to an average of $3.34 per gallon in the last 2 weeks. That's according to industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor, editor-at-large of The Spectator, and editor of the Transom.com daily newsletter. I'm inviting you to join in-depth conversations every week on the Ben Domenech podcast.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcast.com.
Iran and the U.S. engaged in talks on Iran's nuclear program in Oman.
Oman's foreign minister called the discussions constructive and promising. Oman's top diplomat, who hosted both leaders in Oman, said, quote, "I would like to thank my two colleagues for this engagement, which took place in a friendly atmosphere, conducive to bridging viewpoints and ultimately achieving regional and global peace, security, and stability. We will continue to work together and put further efforts to assist in arriving at this goal." And here was President Trump once again aboard Air Force One talking about what he wants to see from Iran.
I want them not to have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country.
Iranian officials said after the 2-hour meeting in Oman they'd like to meet again next week.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House. Congress continues working on a budget bill.
The House passed the measure 216 to 214, with 2 Republicans voting alongside every Democrat against the budget framework. As the crafting of a final bill begins, House Speaker Mike Johnson on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures said the GOP is turning to the reconciliation process to get a final bill done.
It's the one mechanism that allows you to get around the necessity of 60 votes in the Senate. And that's what's so important because we only have 53 Republicans there.
While Republicans mostly back the bill, one GOP senator, Susan Collins of Maine, said any bill with cuts affecting low-income families and the disabled, she will not support. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Pope Francis greeted more than 20,000 people in a surprise appearance today at a Palm Sunday service in St. Peter's Square.
Buona Domenica delle Palme. Buona Settimana Santa.
Speaking in his native Spanish, the Pope told the crowd, "Good Palm Sunday, a good Holy Week." He was rolled out in a wheelchair as he recovers from a bout with double pneumonia that nearly killed him. He was not wearing any supplemental oxygen. I'm Kathleen Maloney. This is Fox News.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun. Oh. Good morning, Marianas.
Monday. It is Holy Week, and you're here with us on Good Morning Marianas. Here we get all the news, the sports, the weather, and we get to do it together. It's really cool here. 7:29 in the morning. You're all caught up. That's the latest from Fox News. And in case you're wondering, hey, wait, I thought you always do Associated Press. True story, we do. But Associated Press does not do their hourly updates on the weekends, and this is their Sunday. So the latest news I would have given you was from Friday. Fox News, though, they keep doing it all the time, so we keep bringing it to you. So that's our regular morning staple on Mondays. It's like Fox Mondays. Foxcatcher? No? Maybe? Yes? I don't know. Hey, busy week so far. Last week, the weekend was totally jam-packed. We had all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of folks with that ship in town. And there's going to be another gathering tonight over at the VFW tonight, 6 o'clock. Probably the big send-off for those fellas who are going to make their way back out into the deep blue. But for now, it's just us. We're just hanging out this morning. We're hoping those guys are having a great time. They said Saipan was taking great care of them so far, and that's exactly it. So hopefully that is the case, and we'll have a great day today. But I want to welcome all you guys to the show this morning. Thanks so much for joining us on Good Morning Marianas, the show that is basically your show. You tell us what you want to do, and we're going to do it. You tell us what you want us to talk about. What's the stories? What are we missing? What should we be following? I know there's all kinds of great stuff happening all around the Marianas. And we can only get to so much of it, right? Kind of one-man banding it, especially when it comes to the weekends, right? The weekends, we got to try and find a little bit of that work-life balance, so we're trying to do that out there. But we do have a lot going on, and we hit you with that story yesterday while we were trying to get around and do a bunch of different things. We were able to, one of our viewers sent us some info about one of these cases that popped up in federal court, and we sent that to you. You know, we got that stuff to you. In fact, I can open up the document now, and we can go over it a little bit because we did. The post is already there on our Facebook page, so you guys have already had the opportunity to get out there and see it itself. It's not the only thing we're going to be talking about today, because I want to talk about the proposed new lease for Marianas Resort way up north. That's going to be a big deal. But if you followed us on our Facebook page, you would have definitely seen the complaint for a forfeiture in REM. Basically, the story is that the feds confiscated a bunch of money from the bank account of MCS, was it Marianas Consulting Services, and now they want to keep it. And there's a bunch of things tied to it that they said was pretty interesting in it. And let's put it on the old share screen so you can see it. If you didn't see it already, right? But you probably did, and you saw some of the analysis about it and everything like that. Our legal analysis, bum, bum, bum. But here we go on that. Now you can actually see, and let's zoom this up a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more. You know, what I thought was more interesting is that when they talk about this, and I would love to hear, I know they probably can't talk about ongoing litigation and all that other kind of stuff, but like, why don't you mention their names in here? Like, they don't actually say what MCS is. We got that from the previous story when they did this kind of stuff in 2023, and AY is a guy that we know, Alfred Yu, and he's been around the Marianas for a long time, and by all accounts, just a really nice guy. I mean, I've gone golfing with him too, right? So that's kind of it's one of the sticky things. So about all these things, like you end up knowing everybody out here, and at one point or another, at one point or another, you're going to bump into everybody. But they're trying to take a bunch of money from him and his business, about just over $300,000. That's a lot of $1,000. That's more than we ripped in here. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I want to say thanks to Miracle Basil for being a bot that popped in. Just taking her out of there. Yeah. Don't click on those links that are coming in from weird people that we have to kick from the broadcast. Yeah, it wasn't even like a bad one, right? It wasn't like a bad person. It was just like one of those fake bots going in there saying, have you ever met my friend Dr. So-and-so who can promise you wealth and everything? All you have to do is click on this link and he will make magic for you. Yeah, thanks a lot. I love those things. At least that's how you know we're actually getting somewhere. You know, people are starting to see us. Facebook, if randos on Facebook can find us, we're doing something right, I guess. But, you know, let me get back to what we were talking about with regards to this case. So what I think was the interesting part, or you want to say the damning part about the whole thing, was that they alleged that this whole thing was here so that it put in place so they could peddle influence here in Marianas. And so I'm pulling up that, you know, I could just pull up the actual press release. Why in the world would I... I wrote a press release on it. Why in the world do I have to go to our Facebook post? Because it works on U.S. District Court. And, oh, you know what? I put it in just courts in general. All right? Yeah, there it is. Story. Poo. All right. While we wait for this to open up over here, this is it. I'll move this out of the way so you guys don't have to see that while I read it. But this is it. So this is the story. It says feds seek to forfeit over $300,000 allegedly tied to political corruption casino scandal here in Saipan. And the thing about it is, while we scroll through and check out all of the particulars, again, the whole document, the whole filing is available on our page. So if you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check it out. The initial things, they talk about what it is. Then they say, hey, we actually have jurisdiction over it. And let's talk about this. Again, they don't mention who AY is. We do. They don't mention who MCS is. You know, we know who they are and all that stuff. And the question is why. They also refer to some other folks here. Now, this is interesting. They said that they're referring to one company as a Chinese investment holding company called Foreign Parent Company. Yeah, wait till they give you all the details on that. They say they're registered in Bermuda, headquartered in Hong Kong, PRC. The foreign parent company owner, really IPI, owned a company registered in the British Virgin Islands. It turned the company registered in the British, easy for me to say, British Virgin Islands, owned a company registered and incorporated in the CNMI. And collectively, with its parent companies, that's how they moved this money. Now, hold on, excuse me. What they end up saying is that they used these companies to funnel money to the MCS that would be used to curry favor with local officials. They made campaign donations from MCS. They say payments were allegedly structured to avoid scrutiny by CNMI regulators. MCS received over $2 million between 2014 and 2019 from Chinese sources. MCS funds were allegedly used for campaign donations, including 2 unnamed high-ranking CNMI politicians, entertainment and travel expenses for officials, cash handoffs to political insiders, and thinly veiled consulting payments to associates of elected officials. He said some payments were labeled as special projects or other expenses, and one was for $120,000 with no explanation at all within it. It says the filing claims these payments helped the casino developer secure favorable treatment from the CNMI government, including delayed penalties, regulatory changes, and relaxed oversight. It also alleges that the developer began paying MCS before they were awarded an exclusive license to operate a casino in Saipan, raising questions about how early the influence operation began. So when you're talking about that, excuse me, you're talking about who are they paying? And delayed, hold on, we'll scroll up on here again. The delayed penalties and the regulatory changes and relaxed oversight. You know, when we're sitting here scratching our heads talking about the Commonwealth Casino Commission, you know, everybody's wondering the same thing. Why didn't they do more? Why didn't they do it sooner? Why did it take so long? And it was at the oversight of the commissioners, not the body. No, I mean we're looking at the commissioners because they're the ones who make those calls. And we're wondering why they have been so slow or been so quiet. And this could easily be one of the reasons why. Again, this is just all alleged, but that's one of the reasons why they're doing it. So again, it says they claim that these over $2 million was transferred this way at one point or another. And it says that these payments helped the casino developer secure favorable treatment from the CNMI government, including delayed penalties, regulatory changes, and relaxed oversight. I mean, that's it, folks. I mean, in a nutshell. So what's next? Well, this is not even a criminal thing right now. They're doing it civil. And when they do stuff like this, they're doing it to really kind of lay a foundation for what they're going to do next. So does it give you some hope to say maybe they're starting to crack that nut? Well, I mean, it's about time. It's been, a long time, and there haven't been any real major developments coming out of any of it for a long time. So it could shake a little faith in the whole process, but look, they're actually moving on it. So, and that's what we said. While this is still a civil matter, legal analysts note that civil forfeiture is often the first move in larger corruption and criminal probes. If proven in court, the funds will be permanently forfeited to the U.S. Treasury. Well, it would be better if it was by the CNMI Treasury. If we were doing our jobs here by going after these guys, maybe that could be an extra $300,000 in the CNMI's pockets, and that certainly would be a pretty good thing. We could use it now with everything that's going on. All right, well, if you read it now, you saw it. If you want to go and find out the more of the details, you don't have to just listen to what I'm saying at all. By the way, that's not always the best idea at all, as evidenced by everybody who I live with. But you're able to read it for yourself. It's right there on the NMI News Service homepage. So this is the other thing here. So going back to it, between August of 2017 through or about November 2019, the foreign parent company, which is really IPI, utilized a company based in Hong Kong that purported to provide professional business services. These services included payroll services. The foreign payroll company maintained an HSBC bank account in Hong Kong, and they're also listing 4 different people here. Individual 1 who's a resident of the CNMI and a partner in the business here. Individual 2 is a resident of the CNMI and also a partner in the business here. Individual 3 is a resident and a political figure in the CNMI who during the relevant period owed a fiduciary duty to the citizens of the CNMI. And finally, individual 4 is a resident and political figure in the CNMI who during the relevant period owed fiduciary duty to the CNMI citizens. Right? So these are really elected or appointed officials that they're talking about. Right? The question is, when are they going to give us those names? Like, what's the next step of the process where they do it? Now, granted, they're not dragging everybody's names in here probably, I'm going to guess, because they don't want to muddy up the waters and keep it focused strictly to this particular forfeiture. But I still don't understand why they don't even really use the names of these folks here, at least in these filings. I mean, sure, all that stuff's going to come up in court if there's a big fight for it. But I can't wait to hear the names that they are saying for all these other things. Here's there's also if you're scrolling through and checking out the details of this on the court filings, you can see everything themselves. They're talking about the foreign parent company, which is, IPI, domestic subsidiary, and then the foreign payroll, and then where it all went, and where they purposefully tried to avoid all the regulatory controls on these kind of things. But they're going to have to prove it in court, and that's what they're doing. So go ahead, read it for yourself, and let us know what you think about it if you haven't read it already. Does this add to what you already suspected? Is this totally changed what you thought? Is this a nothing burger? I mean, it could be a little bit of everything. It all depends on what you know and what your take is on all this stuff. I can't tell you what's right or what's wrong, but I can tell you what's going on, Yeah, Miracle is winning. That is right. That's hilarious. That's great. All right, well, that was the big story as we had it. We have to really wait and see now is like what's coming up next, because all the juicy stuff's in that story, and I'm not really going to sensationalize it anything bigger than that, but this is a big deal. If they're saying specifically that they use this money from this company, which is, I mean, it's IPI, right? And they use that to funnel money through a company they had registered in the Virgin Islands, that's registered in Bermuda, sent money to another company that's in the Virgin Islands so that they can give it to somebody here who gave it to, here, it says, various individuals, candidates, campaigns, inauguration committees, and political parties, including the 3 and 4 people. Who are they? They include $10,000 contribution to an inaugural committee in 2019. Well, we know whose inauguration that was, so that's easy. So again, that influence and all that other stuff. And then this is it. The candidates' CNMI campaign statements of account frequently fail to disclose their contributions to their campaigns as required by the law. Now, the thing about that is, why aren't our local guys doing that? Why isn't our OPA doing that? Why isn't our Attorney General doing that? I mean, it seems like that should be absolutely it if they're doing that, but that's it. Hey, here's one of the things on here. It says during that time period between 2017 and 2019, Alfred, in this one, arranged at least partially paid for several overseas trips for CNMI government. At least partially paid for several overseas trips for CNMI government officials, including that last one on at least one occasion. Frequently met with government officials for golf, meals, drinking, karaoke, and typically used his credit card to cover the bill, and these payments frequently exceeded $100 and occasionally $1,000. Now, were those claimed and were those listed? Well, it says in here, CNMI law generally bars CNMI government officials from accepting non-monetary gifts with a value greater than $50. And that's not about claiming it. That's about just even accepting it. You're not supposed to do it. Someone's going to take you out. If you're an elected official, they're going to take you out with their non-monetary gift of like buying you dinner of like $100. You can't accept it, right? Unless there's rules for it too. Like if they're paying for like a massive room and you're part of it, that doesn't count. But if they're taking care of just you and a couple other elected officials, you're just not allowed to do it. And if you don't like it, that's cool. That's just the rules, right? He also said he unlawfully used money from the MCS accounts to pay off their credit cards that they used to pay for travel, golf, meals, drinking, karaoke from government officials. And the reason why they do that is because it doesn't trip all the regulatory controls and all that stuff. And I mean, that's it. So you check it out for yourself, and read it for yourself. And you can read it from your own perspective. That's the thing. When you're going to come into it with some thoughts about some of these folks anyway. And you're gonna think, man, I hope it wasn't bad, or I hope it was bad, or it's gonna be your take. You bring with it as much baggage as you got. Hey, just going to the comments real quick. It says, happy birthday, happy 13th birthday to our nephew Landon Jake Gonzalez out there in Washington. Well, happy birthday, Landon. Happy birthday to you, man. 13. What a year. What an age to be. Man, 13 years old. Your whole life is ahead of you. You have no idea what the world has got in store. And your parents do. And they're going to try to give you the best life they can. And hopefully the rest of the world will too. Good luck out there, partner. And have a great day. Have a great birthday. 13. Could you imagine? What would you do if you were turning 13? And you had all the knowledge that you have right now? What would you do differently? I mean, what would you do differently? Would you go through life with way more confidence? And would you rule the school? Would you go out for those sports teams that you were afraid of going for? Would you try for that role in the school play that you never went for? Would you be a smooth talker with the ladies? I mean, what would you do differently if you were 13 with everything you knew today? All that confidence stuff, just bring that in your everyday life today. You do that today. Just walk in with that confidence and that swagger. You don't have to be a cocky bastard. But I mean, like, you go in with your confidence that you can do it. Fun thing is, you can. Believe it or not, you can absolutely do it. All right. Well, we're creeping up at 7:48 this morning, and that was the big story that we were talking about today. We've got other stuff happening that we're going to get to. We're going to get to all our headlines for the international scene, too. And we're going to talk about some cool things that are happening here in Saipan because we have like one of the best places in the world to live. Remember, our phone lines are open. Our phone number is 670-789-2323, 670-789-2323. All right, we're going to take a real quick break, and I'm telling you, don't go anywhere. There's a whole lot more show to go, so we'll see you with more right after this.
Hi, I'm Shauna Brenfleck, nurse practitioner and owner of Island Skin Solutions and Wellness Clinic. We are Saipan's only medical spa offering a wide range of services to meet your unique skincare goals. We offer exclusive medical-grade skincare products that can only be purchased from a licensed medical professional. We also have the CNMI's only master esthetician, who offers new patient consultations that include a mini facial tailored to your needs. Schedule your consultation today to get started on your skincare journey.
Paradise Dental's giving you the gas. Well, not that kind of gas. You already know that Paradise Dental has the most affordable coverage in the entire Marianas. And now we've got something special just for new customers. And now for a limited time, Paradise Dental is offering free gas vouchers for new signups for their coverage plan. If you sign up for a singles plan, you'll get a $10 gas voucher. If you sign up for a couples plan, that's a $15 gas voucher. And if you sign up for the whole family plan, that's a $20 gas voucher right after your first visit. So hurry down to Paradise Dental and sign up for the CNMI's most affordable dental coverage today. These gas vouchers are limited, and with smiles like these, you know they're gonna go fast.
Hey, I'm Coach Derek Cutting, the owner and founder of Laddie Built Fitness. So no matter who you talk to here at Laddie Built, everyone feels that they are part of a family, part of a group of like-minded people. No one feels judged. No one feels like they're being teased or picked on or looked down upon because maybe they don't know what they're doing. They could be brand new and have no idea what they're doing. They might be overweight or really skinny and feel very self-conscious about themselves. But at Laddie Built, nobody judges here. And if you ask anybody here that might be in better shape than you or even not, but has experience in the gym, they will gladly help you through a workout and teach you a few techniques that could help you. So Laddie Built organically from day one, since the boot camp era, has organically grown this fostered environment of community and being a safe place, but a strong work ethic community of people that want to get work done. All I can say is that I put my heart and soul into it from day one. I treated everyone like that at the boot camp from the very, very beginnings, and everyone at the same time would treat each other like that from the boot camp era as well. And as we grew, as we got into a brick and mortar facility, we got bigger and bigger, I feel like people definitely just take this place as a home, as like their brother and sisters are working out next to them, not their enemy or not their competitor, you know? So organically, it's just the vibe here is different. Everyone feels very, very comfortable, and I love the fact that it happened like that.
Welcome back, Marianas. It is 7:53 in the morning. Got to give love to those sponsors, by the way. You got to check them out. You know, Paradise Dental Spa, they have been a big supporter of ours. and we're a big supporter of theirs. We love those guys. And man, there is a roast coming up for one of our friends. You know, we do the Marianas Business Network happy hour show, Sip Happens, right here. And PK, who founded that, is going to be saying goodbye to his 40s. And so he's opted for a roast for his birthday party. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be the roast master. And already on the ticket, a bunch of folks. So I have to pick on PK, and I got to pick on the other people who are going to pick on PK. And I got to have a few lined up in the chamber just for people who might just be there, who could use a little bit of ribbon too. So it should be funny. I'm looking forward to it. But like when I did that stand-up comedy bit over at the Naked Fish for the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation's volunteers, that was not easy. That was a lot of work. And then we're memorizing it, practicing the delivery and all that other stuff, because you don't want to suck. That's the best part. I mean, like, that's the driver, the motivating driver behind the whole thing is you just don't want to suck. And if you do, the funny thing is that's going to be funny on its own, so that'll get laughs too. But having a few zingers for everybody who's out there, and I got to guess there's going to be some other people. But let me just put it out there first. While some of these jokes may be a little out of character, a little more mean, or a little more dirty or something, it's just for the show. It's just going to be for the show. And there's no malice. For a roast, and I wonder why that concept came up. Maybe we could do this first before we move into the next thing. But like, where did the roast concept come from? Because you're crapping all over somebody, right? Let's see. Apparently, the New York Friars Club in 1949 held their first roast with French singer Maurice Chevalier as the guest of honor. The format gained public popularity with the Dean Martin celebrity roasts in the 70s, and then it got televised and all that other stuff. But it's funny if you're not one of them. That's the thing. It's hilarious as long as you're not one of them. By the way, that means I'm going to end up catching some of it too. You know, I'm going to get some of that flack from these guys. I don't love that idea. Although, I love to hear what they have to say. You know, like, it should be fun. It should be fun. The question is like some people, there's a couple of people who are a little bit older, and I'm like, ooh, what's too much, right? What's too much? You got to try to figure out that balance. I have a few good jokes already, just from the little stuff, but then I reached out to some friends to help me write about, let's come up with some stuff. I think it's going to be a fun journey, a fun experience about it. And, you know, I never did air the footage of my stand-up. Maybe we'll end up doing that one day. Maybe. All right, well, let's do this. I want to get into what's happening with Marianas Resort, and I want you guys to know what's going on, too. Because Marianas Resort, of course, remember that whole debacle with public lands and letting it go, basically, is what happened. They let Can Pacific go because of IPI. IPI was going to try to change the terms of their deal again, so that the deal was going to be they were going to have to build a brand new $7.2 billion, blah, 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 blah. And they were trying to get out of that by buying Marianas Resort and rebidding higher than what Can Pacific could do. And what ended up happening? Nothing. Because they didn't bid on it, because they didn't have the changes made in their contract for their license to let them get out of that, building that thing. And then they ended up just kind of cleaning it up for a year, kind of. Instead, they chased away like a legacy investor who had been here for 40 years, and that was it. Now, the question is, what do we do at Marianas Resort? And what do you think? Your thoughts on it are just as important as anybody else, because this is public land out here. That's where this property is, and it's a great place. It's a great property, and it's an outstanding resort area. So Eland, the company that currently runs Coral Ocean Point, Pacific Islands Club, and the Kensington, they would like to get the lease for this land. And they are the ones who have been investing in the CNMI for a long time. Question is, do you want to put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to that, with one organization or one investor? And I could see being cautious about doing that. But there are other folks who don't even want to see the land used for a hotel or a resort. They want it to revert back to public hands. Now, when we got up there, we've got a swimming pool that's dead essentially right now because nobody's taking care of it. And that was put in by the previous investor. And under the proposal for this new contract, Eland would make that a public pool again. Then you've got, or at least access for the public. And then they got the golf course up on top of the island. Like, that's a golf course that we lost for years. Right now we've got Kingfisher, which is really a dog track. You've got Coral Ocean Point, and then you've got Lau Lau. And Lau Lau's got two, right? So we can regain another destination for tourists, another golf course for tourists if they get it. So what are we going to do with it? Well, anyway, they had a joint meeting at the House chamber, but it had folks from the House and the Senate to discuss what they think about this lease. And so we're going to play this for you so you can kind of make up your own mind and listen to what your fellow members of the community have to say about it. I mean, if you're not able to hear it yourself, or if you're not able to be there, totally understandable, right? I mean, you got a life, and they do this stuff during working hours. It's not like they do it after work so we can actually watch it.
So public comments. If anyone in the gallery wishes to provide comments.
This is the public comment section.
Please join us in the chamber.
And I'll show you the image right here. Pow, pow. And the first one that comes up is from Eland. Well, you'll hear it for yourself.
So for those providing comments, please state your name for the record and the entity you represent. Please keep your comments under 5 minutes and relevant to the items on the agenda. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Yoon Kyu Chung. I'm the Vice President of the Mariana Corporation, Mariana Eland Corporation. And I'm here to express our appreciation to Chairman Colina and Chairman Angelo, and also all committee member. We are looking forward to working together with all committee member, and we're looking forward your full of the support on Mariana project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ted. Anyone else?
Good morning, Hafide Tiro Kamorale, distinguished joint committees, and honorable members of our legislature. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy that we're having discussions about this topic because our community has been waiting for any kind of movement to happen with this property. My name is Sheila Jack Babauta. I'm a resident of Precinct 4. I live 2 minutes from the former Marianas Resort Hotel. And I'm here as a concerned citizen and a daughter of the Marianas, a daughter of Saipan. This is the largest land lease in CNMI history. And it's a huge topic that we really need to pay attention to as a community and take our time with as leaders. This 40-year lease with a potential of an extension of 15 years for over 5 hectares of public land is a big deal for us because we don't have a lot of land here in the Mariana Islands. And after watching and reviewing your last joint committee meeting that was held on March 25th for almost 3 hours, it was very clear that more time is needed on this topic. More discussion is needed in the community, especially the communities in Precinct 4 who will feel the impact of this development, quote unquote development, right? And so from that last meeting, there were questions on the process of approving the lease. There were questions on the RFP issues that ultimately led to the courts getting involved. There were questions on negotiations, whether or not we can still negotiate, what part of the lease we can negotiate. It was very clear that the legislature and the leaders were not involved with the negotiation process, right? And so we're taking this time to catch up with what has happened since 2020, what's in the lease, what happened with the court order. There's so much information to catch up on, and there's so much opportunity to talk about the needs of our community and all the other players, like you all mentioned in the last meeting, that needed to be at that table, like CUC, like DPW, like the community members, like NSA, the Nativu Sports Association. And the process didn't unfold that way. And so here we are today discussing this lease. There, of course, comes questions about this type of development and it being the largest public land lease in CNMI history. In all my travels working with Indigenous groups, there's a land back movement where Indigenous communities want their land back from developers, back from investors, because Indigenous lands are best stewarded in Indigenous hands. We know how to care for the land, we know how to heal the land, and we know how best to steward the land. Here in our community, I know that there's a deep mistrust for leadership, but I see the potential in our people. We have doctors and lawyers. We have brilliant, excellent leaders who can be a part of this conversation and help lead the conversation. Because questions like, is this the type of development that we really need? Are our flights full? Telling you no, I was on one last week, right? We're talking about tourism being our #1 industry. It wasn't a full flight. It never is when I come home. Are our hotel rooms full? This is a different time than 5 years ago. And so I'm glad those were questions that were also raised in the last meeting, because for us to depend on tourism as our bread and butter just has not been working, So is this the type of development that we need at this time? Do we need more hotel rooms? Do we need another golf course? I lived very close to the golf course. It's a beautiful, beautiful property with so much potential. And is there a reason why this entire property needs to go to one investor? You all talked about putting our eggs in one basket. And, you know, when I was in office, this was already a vacant property. I've brought potential investors on the property, and they asked too, why are you going to lease the whole thing to one person? Is there any way we can lease a portion here and then, you know, get other people involved? What's the reason behind that? And we all know the reason behind that, because 2020 was a very volatile time in our government. We had a different administration, we had corruption allegations, we had IPI being built. And so we just don't want another IPI. We don't want another La Fiesta. We don't want another Plumeria resort. And those are abandoned properties that I pass by every day. And so I just want to thank the DPL team. You know, these are people of our community. These are Indigenous peoples of our land. And I appreciate all the time and attention that you spent on this lease. I am here to be a part of the conversation. I would really appreciate more involvement with the community, especially that in Precinct 4, because we have a quarry up there that we listen to every day for 7 days. And the development that's happening is at the expense of our land. We are literally eating away at our land to build more buildings. And we need to make sure that it's the right decision, especially if it's at the expense of our land. So questions around the true environmental cost of a golf resort is on the table too. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, they fight off golf resorts because of the impact to the ocean. All the chemicals that are used to maintain the property will have a runoff effect into the ocean. And so, is that conversation also being had? What is the true cost of the environmental impact? What is the true cost to the people, so that we can make sure these decisions are made with very intentional foresight, with a vision for our people. 40 years is a long time. I'm going to be 76. A baby born today will be 40 years old. And so that's a long lease. That's a lot of property. And I just want to reassure this joint committee that I'm here to also lend any services and help organize any community meetings if you need, so that we can really make this decision together, because we need our community to be involved. We are tired of designing our home for the visitor, designing our home for the tourist. And I understand the concerns and the frustrations around the homestead program. I truly do. And I believe there are other ways that we can get our needs funded. It just takes a matter of bold leadership and support from everybody in the community. So thank you for having this joint committee meeting. I look forward to the discussion, and I'm here should you have any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair and Madam Chair.
All right, so that's Sheila Babalta, former representative, and you got to hear what her take is on it. And it's not about one versus the other. I don't share her opinion on a lot of it, but I do not just appreciate, I value deeply her love for the community and her passion for making the Marianas just a better place for people from the Marianas. I mean, you can't beat that. That's a community champion, right? That's wonderful. But you hear some of that hippy-dippy activisty stuff too. I'm sorry, Sheila. But like indigenous lands in indigenous hands. They're in indigenous hands. I mean, that's it. They have been. And they have been for the past 5 years. So I'm like, the people who are here, who are coming up with those decisions, are the people who are from here. It's not, I feel like that's using an argument for somewhere other than Saipan or somewhere other than the Marianas. It's like if you're talking about like turning over a brand new lease to the military or something like that. Like that, it just seems like it's the wrong argument, just using some catchphrases. The other one though is about, the environmental impact, we need to study this and all this. No, you don't, because you have 40 years worth of that study already, because you had a golf course there. This is not a brand new development. This is not a starting from scratch everything. You already have a big ass hotel. You've got all those little villas down there. Then you've got the main pool area for the, like with the lobby and all that other stuff. You got the dive pool, the spa area. That's stuff that's already just on the ground, right? And then up on top of the hill, you got the golf course, and then you got the housing things that are up there as well. And then you got all the maintenance stuff for the golf course on the south side of that end. So that kind of stuff I don't think really applies. I mean, you're talking about chasing off golf investors in New Zealand. Well, these are not golf investors that are coming out here to build a new golf course. This is a golf course that operated for 40 years. This is already there. And to say that we need more time, we let this stuff rot for 5 years, more than, right? I mean, when the people were checking into that as the quarantine hotel, it was already moldy and nasty. Like, what would you like to do when it comes to things like this? Just saying, hey, this is a problem, we shouldn't do it, or we need more time. How much time is enough time? Letting that place rot and losing value on that every single day is awful. Now, granted, that was a little hot and heavy on that, so I would dial that back. But only to a certain point. Like, we're the ones who screwed up by overplaying our hand. right, with regards to Camp Pacific. The smart thing to do would have been to let Camp Pacific roll into a new lease, right? They'd already been here for 40 years. They had already done stuff for the community. They did give back stuff and everything, and not a problem. But I don't necessarily disagree with what she's saying about part of that too, especially when it comes to, does somebody have to get the whole thing? Well, it's already been done. Like, she's like, this is going to be the biggest lease in cinema history. I'm like, it's going to be a tie for what they had already, right? I mean, that's it. They already had it. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. And I also, again, I do like the idea of breaking it up. Do they have to have every single thing up there? Could they chop it up or whatever? Yeah, probably. But whatever it is, we should really work to having a plan for the other part of like that developed area, right? I mean, do we need another golf course? Well, I mean, it certainly sounds like she doesn't agree with that. I mean, if we're a tourist destination, you know, again, it's not getting another golf course. It's reviving a golf course we already had. This is not clearing land in Cagman or Pick-a-Village. We're not clearing land in Marpy to make a new golf course, right? No, this is something that was already there. It's something that people from here already decided 40 years ago, 45, that it was a good idea. So to me, it's just like refreshing what's there and redo it. So that's, we differ on that. I don't disagree though. Like, you could have a completely different owner for the golf course. Someone whose focus is totally on the golf course, right? I mean, you say, do we need another golf course? Like, nobody's flying here just to go and golf at Kingfisher, except for maybe the people who own Kingfisher who are hanging on to it, because that place is not great, right? We should be excited about having someone come in here who's going to make that, restore it to the best conditions that it's been in. I mean, that's exactly what we need for the golf course out here. And giving our local golfers other options is pretty good. You know, she didn't mention, though, about the pool, and that being one of the things that Eland would have to do with this. They would be responsible for revamping or rebuilding that pool so that our national swimming program has a home. We need that in the CNI. It's amazing that our swimmers go out and kick so much butt overseas because we don't have a friggin' pool anymore. And we don't have a friggin' pool anymore because that previous administration let it go, right? And then what's another thing about that one is that I remember going to a photo op with the former governor who said he was using ARPA funds to redo the pool. And that still burns me up a little bit, you know, because that never happened. He ended up using people for a photo op and never came through with it. Never, not one shovel in the ground. No. So I was going to invest some of that ARPA money to redo that pool. Didn't do it. We need that. Swimming, having great swimmers in Saipan is pretty awesome. And they're not kicking butt now because of the facilities we have. They're kicking some butt in spite of the facilities we have. Talk about, it's not just a precinct 4 issue. It's public lands, so it's about a full-on Saipan thing. It's not like the people in precinct 4 are going to be experiencing anything different. Like, unless there's people who are going to be rolling in with negative experiences about, for 40 years I hated these people, they treated us, okay, that'd be different. These are different people though too. You're Dominic, good morning. You said, is there a transcript of what's been discussed so far? I don't believe that there is an actual transcript, but there is the digital trail about where you can find all these videos of the public meetings. And by the way, just so you know, this is a big deal that we continue to have these public meetings broadcast. We have provisions in our Open Government Act now that allow for anybody who can publicly broadcast them, should publicly broadcast them, so that, again, now more than ever, our community has the ability to be more involved in our government and what's happening. But it's up to you if you want to. So you have to want to go in and see all these things too. If you can't do it during the day, totally understandable. But that's why these things are available, so you can see them later. And we got to make sure that we keep our elected leaders accountable, and not even elected leaders, our appointed leaders. Like when they have meetings in the Senate chamber or the House chamber, I'm not talking about like the small meetings like in the like the Senate President's office or the House Speaker's office. No, I'm talking about when it's in the chamber. If they're inviting people in for a talk or something like that I think all that stuff should be broadcast. The other one is when they say, let's take a quick recess. If you're not leaving the chamber to go and do something else, you might take a break from the proceedings, but they should not be pausing or muting that for the public to hear it, because they're basically just trying to give you a polished, edited version of what's really going on in there. So that's my 2 cents. Let's get back to it, though, Dom. Thanks for that. Send me a message about it if you want. And if you want to call the show, of course, 789-2323. But if you need help trying to find out where everything is, I can show you where everything is. All right? All right, let's go back. So that was Sheila Babauta who just spoke. The first person we didn't really dig into because it's the person who's advocating for the company. You know where their position is going to be. So let's see who else went up to speak.
Good morning. Patrick Leon Guerrero, also a homeowner of Asmatuas. So I don't think the legislature needs to look far at our revenue to see what kind of economic conditions our island has kind of developed into. It's been running since the COVID. COVID has been kind of over. You see Guam is recovering, but CNMI is not. We don't have a lot of developers knocking on our doors. There's nobody coming over. As the former Congresswoman just said, the flights are pretty empty. So we have somebody right now who's willing to take the risk, the investment. Public Lands knows already right now what the maintenance cost is just to keep the Marianas Resort in perhaps a semi-function operation. So we are expending funds right now every month just to maintain a system when there's a developer who's been trying to come in, who wants to make the investment in our economy for tourism. We used to be a pretty strong tourist destination, and I'm hopeful that we will return to a strong tourist destination. And I think that one of the first steps is going to be to allow the development of the Marianas Resort, because right now my understanding, MRI is probably the single largest investor in the CNMI, having operations in multiple locations. And so just that they want to even impact and affect another area that has been abandoned is a testament to their commitment to the island. And I think, like I said, all you got to do is look at the CNMI coffers to realize what a hurt situation we are in. And I don't think we're going to get a lot of help from the U.S. because, as you can see by the recent news, the U.S. is cutting everywhere, every division, every government agency. I'm sure they don't have the CNMI high on the totem pole. Thank you.
All right, well, let's pause that real quick. So that was Patrick Leon Guerrero, and I liked his take on that. I mean, he said the right thing that I was thinking. What I really like, though, is how he's like, hey, I live up here. He lives in Asmatui, so he's also part of that precinct 4 that they're talking about, right? And he says, hey, I live up here, and this is it. it's fine. Like, we got somebody who wants to do something with it. Instead of us spending our public money on maintaining this place, we finally got somebody who's like been here for a long time, and one of our biggest investors in our community, and they want to take the risk in this downtime to develop this property or restore this property into something that could be a moneymaker. And here's one of the things about it that I think is a real big deal, is that if they're investing the money into it, they are actively trying to get people to come here to spend money by staying there. Eland, the MRI guys, they spend a lot of money on marketing to their core markets. They absolutely do. And because they make the money off of, now I know MVA cares, right? It's not that MVA doesn't care or something, but MVA's mission is to, try to promote our island. But their mission for the Eland is to fill their hotels, right? And make money. And they need, if they see the opportunity for them to make some money, it's by them making that property nice, it's also going to bring more options to folks who would be coming here. That's why I think he nailed it on the head by saying, look, we got somebody who's willing to do this. We have somebody, people are not knocking on our doors to come here and invest. We got somebody who wants to. And why I feel better about this is because they're not looking at clearing a brand new facility. They're looking at using the Marianas Resort, right? I'm looking at the comments. Tobat says, also, hasn't the investor been actively investing in Saipan? Yes. He said, don't give no Cracker Jack prize investment in a place that's their first time. You don't want a repeat of IPI. You know what else you don't want? You don't want a repeat of those guys from Managaha who jacked up Managaha, right? Those guys were from nowhere. Like Tan Holdings could have been running Managaha and making Managaha pretty awesome, right? They could have. They are a company from here who's fully vested in here, and not just tourism, but also tourism. And they didn't get the gig for Managaha. They would be great. Because these are people who live here, right? And their livelihood is based here. Like, they don't want to see a skyscraper on Managaha. They don't want to ruin Managaha. They care about the culture and the pristine nature of what Managaha is. Although it's kind of crappy with all the birds right now. I love birds, but it's worse. You're going to end up getting some white spots on you for sure if you hang out in Managaha too much now. Ever since the pandemic, they kind of relocated over there, trying to make Bird Island Part 2. It's like, it would be like if IPI built a satellite location. That's what the birds did. The birds trying to do that. Well, anyway, I like the take, and I like that. So let's see what else we got. There's only a little bit of time left, but Tamara, you're right. There's only about 5 minutes left on this video. And if they didn't leave the whole thing open and recorded and broadcast, the question is why? They're meeting together to discuss a super important issue. It's nice that they did the public comments, but why did it shut off? Maybe they had a technical issue. I don't know. But that should be something that we get. All right, let's go back and see if anyone else stepped up to make their comments.
Okay, I think that's all we have for today's public comment.
I guess not. Let's see what she says, why it gets cut off.
The public comment portion of the agenda is now closed. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is old business. There's none. Under new business, we have DPL and their team. Acting Secretary Villagomez, please join us in the chamber along with your team if they're here with you.
So really, we didn't get to hear anything from these guys from Public Lands because the video cuts off? This is terrible. Well, let's find out. There's a bunch of people that we know. Yeah, and so again, there's only like 5 minutes left.
So may I request that you introduce yourself and your team again, just for those who are viewing online and would like to know who's here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Richard Villagomez, currently acting secretary for DPO, and if you don't mind, they'll just introduce themselves. Thank you.
I'm Bonnie Royal for the Real Estate Division.
Mrs. Pat Rasa, Director of Planning Division.
Mrs. Masi, so at this time, would you like to provide any opening statements or just continue on where we left off last time?
I'd like to make some statements based on the last hearing, which, from what I understand, is now considered a separate hearing from today. Thank you, Madam Chair and Chairman, honorable members of this committee. It was a lot of discussion in the previous hearing. We took notes, and if I can be given the opportunity to address some of those concerns up front. One of the concerns that was brought up was the court case with the RFP currently being in court. And I think the questions revolved around, what happens if the lease is approved by the joint committee or the legislature. Obviously, if it's approved, then there's no reason for the case to remain in court. The other question, what happens if the legislature rejects it? I think, again, I want to just clarify, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just speaking in generalities here. If the legislature rejects it, of course, the court would have to, it's currently stayed, so they have to lift the stay and make a decision on, whether they're going to rule either against or for DPL. We can't predict that. If it's against DPL, then obviously, ELAN would have to make a decision on what next steps they would have to take. There was also a question about whether, because there's a active court case, whether we should be discussing things in a public forum such as this hearing today. That one, I don't have an answer, and probably would recommend that you have competent legal counsels here to guide you on that. There was another very important issue that was brought up about the baseball field, I guess alternate location located in Tanapak. So for reps to identify another location, if that's what you guys want to do also, where DPL can do that. There was also a question about the 25% assignment fee that was brought up. There was a question about, or an issue raised about one company being a monopoly, one company controlling 3 or more hotels on Saipan. And the scenario that was discussed was, whether it's on private or public land. I think the scenario that was brought up was, if that firm, one firm that holds several hotels was in finance or just decided it, wanted to leave the CNMI, that it would leave a huge void in terms of jobs, employment, rent revenues, and of course, tax dollars to the CNMI. But we've had experience with companies actually leaving, leases changing hands. So generally, businesses, they have exit strategies. So they don't just up and leave and, abandon their investments. Take Hyatt, for example, in the old lease, the previous lease before MB Capital, it actually changed owners 3 times. Yeah. So, and then, World Resort, that changed owners several times. Suwasu, as I'm sure you're all aware, and probably we'll be discussing that in another hearing. It was previously owned by another company prior to 2011. So I hope that kind of addresses, how the concern of.
Yeah, and that's where it cuts off, and that's a shame. So I wonder what happened with that and how that got screwed up. But yeah, I will say that just happens. At some point, you literally just have some technical difficulties, and maybe that's why it dropped off. I don't think it was intentional, and if it was, well, that sucks. But I don't think it was. So So I guess I'll just go with that. Anyway, what do you think about it? What do you think about the idea of them getting it? I saw a couple comments came in. Anthony Demapound, hey brother, how's it going? Great to see you on here. He says, maybe consider proposing the site to the U.S. Armed Forces Recreation Centers. It's ideal for the military, federal use, and limited tourists stays reliable, sustainable, and beneficial for local economic growth. No, it's absolutely possible. It's funny. When I was with the Department of Defense as a civilian, we were looking at the potential of doing that with the Dynasty in Tinian, turning that into having the military take that over and getting that, and not even having to pay for it, getting it against the penalties that the Tinian Dynasty owes to the Department of Justice for all their fines and everything. And then still, though, at that time, it was going to cost the military, based on what the engineering assessment was, $25 million just to get that property ready to go. Like, holy cow. So if they ended up doing something like that, the property there up there in Marpe it's beautiful. I love it. It's a great spot. And the way, if you think about it, think about every military base. Well, at least the ones I've been on, they're really spread out. They use that land, and they don't try to cram everybody into one spot. There's plenty of land spread out. That is already set up like a military installation, as far as like people having plenty of room to stretch their legs. I wouldn't. Well, I would say that based on my feel for it, I wouldn't make a big push to get more of a military footprint in Saipan. But I do like the idea of doing something with it and not letting it go to waste, because that's exactly what's happened now. If we don't do anything with it, it's just going to keep crumbling for another 5 years. We're going to be spending money, and we spend a lot of money every month for the upkeep of that place. And we could be getting a lot of money every month for the not just upkeep, but for the regenerating that place. It's like a facelift. Anna says, military lodging for active duty and veterans sounds good. Yeah, I would love it if we had more of that business coming in too, right? But, maybe that goes to what they're saying about, what if you break it up into different parcels? I don't know. The folks who wouldn't be for the ELAND investment have their valid reasons. I just don't agree with some of the ones that were proposed. It's the biggest one in the history. Okay, well, it's already been there. Do we need another golf course? I'm like, well, you probably don't think so, but if you want to be a tourist destination, yeah. But some of these folks would rather not have development in the CNMI. I don't want overdevelopment in the CNMI. I would hate to see condos up there at Suicide Cliff. It would be terrible. It's a pretty beautiful place. If we already got stuff up there, then let's continue that. I wouldn't necessarily want houses that lead all the way up to Suicide Cliff either. I'm not a fan of all that development. So I'm not in that overdevelopment, all that other stuff. But this one seems to make sense. There's a reason why they are the suitor for the property. It's because there's nobody else who wants to be a suitor for the property. You got somebody who wants to invest in the CNMI without making a bigger footprint and revitalizing a place that we've got. I say we do it. Stop spending money on just keeping that thing. We've got a property that's on life support and failing. We could have one that's robust, rejuvenated. It'll look great, and they've got backing to bring more tourism here. Heck yeah, it's no problem. Tamara says, it's my understanding it's not actually the biggest. Lala was a larger property. Yeah, and Lala is a pretty big property too, right? Code Blue. I don't know code. Is Code Blue like a Democrat thing? I don't know. I don't know if that's what that means. But yeah, I like the idea of the. I love the idea of them going in and doing good stuff with that property, and revitalizing one that's just crumbling right now. And it's not. And the good thing is, it's not like we have to get clearance for like HPO for because those buildings are historic. I mean, all that land's already been disturbed, meaning because it was an active construction case, so they're not going to have to do a whole lot of new stuff. It's probably the best option that even the most activists can get behind, because they're not going to be doing anything negative to the environment. And like she said, about the golf course, not being in favor, like, do we need another golf course? We should really look in to see if it's even environmentally sound. I'm like, it is. They did it for 40 years. 40! That's a pretty big sample size. So I think it's okay. It's not like you're trying to have a pig farm in the village of Tinapag next to someone else's house, which that crap happens. So if you're going to be serious about your about your environment, don't let people have pig farms putting that pig slop running through the water right there, and when it floods in the flood zone, right? Maybe focus on that when it comes to folks in Tinapag. Hey, I'm not just talking about up north. That's all over the place. If you want, don't let someone have a pig farm right next to their house. Because the only thing that smells worse than pig shit is chicken shit. It is so bad. It is. As long as you're on the right side of the wind, no problem. As long as it's over there by somebody else. Because I'm glad people raise pigs here, because I love eating those things. But I just don't want them to live like right next door to me, where I catch that breeze that wafts over. It's like, oh, no. Then I'm going to have to buy stock in Vicks Vapo Rub just so I can throw some on my nose and I don't have to smell it all the time. Maybe that's my new business. Get your Vicks Vapo Rub. We'll localize it. Yeah, one thing I didn't hear about before, I love the idea about doing a baseball field in Tinapag. I wonder where you'd put it. Where are you going to put that baseball field that's not all the way up there? And it's sad because that ballpark up there was nice. And then, again, over the years, not being able to renew it, they weren't able to reinvest in it because they didn't know if they were going to have to bid on that nice new investment that they made. But back in the day, the pro Japanese baseball teams would practice up there. Even the Koreans used that baseball field up there. They would come here for their spring training. And if they were able to do that, that would be really cool. Oh, thank you for that. All right, the full committee meeting is posted there. Let's see what you got. I'm checking it out now. Thanks for posting that link in there. Appreciate it. Is that the same one? Was it on a different day? Because I saw that. I saw that link. So did they do that on a different day after they were done? Well, either way, appreciate it. That's great. That part's great. Let me know if you're able to dig up the rest of what DPL said. Luisa said, heard there's a field in Marpy, but it needs a lot of work. Luisa Cabrera, how dare you? Have you not been to the baseball field up in Marpy? Are you kidding me? There is a field in Marpy, and it does need a lot of work. I've been up there a lot. I've seen it when it looks great, and I've seen it when it looks like, right? And like Representative Joel Camacho and his team have gone up there and done a lot of work on that too. But that was one of the things from the previous property owners, is that they had to make sure that they kept that stuff up. So they took care of the pool and they took care of the field. And some days look better than others. Somebody ran through like part of the wall and something with the car or something, did some dumb stuff. Yep, that's right, Tobat. The vegetation's one thing, but there's some holes in the concrete wall. The fence probably needs to be replaced. But I've been out there. I used to do like soccer drills out there when I used to live up north. I used to just go to that field and just drill. I'd use the backstop as the wall, like taking passes off of it and stuff like that. And then you just use that, even though I didn't have a net out there, just using that wall so it would be like a backstop. Full continuation of that committee. That's great. That is awesome. Let's see if this is the same one. Yeah, is that the same one? I thought that's the same thing. Yeah, that's the same link. That's the same link. All right, but thank you for posting that in there. That's great. Really appreciate that. Yeah, Doom, you got it, my man. You got it. You got it. He's running for municipal council in 2026. I'm there for you, partner. 100%. But really, that stuff up, I love the idea of a ballpark in Tanapa, but the question is, again, who's paying for it and who's doing the upkeep? And that's a real question here. Let's get into that. Before we take, oh crap, we gotta take a break. All right, before we take a break, who's gonna pay for that field? One, unless you're trying to get the investors to pay for it, but who's gonna pay for the continuous upkeep? Asking the hotel guys to drive a couple miles down the road to take care of a facility that they're not in control over kind of sucks, right? I don't think that's fair. But if you think that it should be something that DCCA does, that's fantastic. Or Sports and Rec, that's fantastic. That's great. They don't do it now. That stuff is all being paid for through NAMASA, through TAN Holdings. It might not look like it publicly, but TAN Holdings is our community champion, keeping all that stuff open and looking good. They are doing it. And you'd be asking them to take on another facility that's nowhere near any of their facilities. Maybe not fair. Maybe not fair. Unless you figure out a way to fund it. That's why you got to use these public-private partnerships. That's what that pool is about. That's what that ball field is about. And if they didn't get a hard time about their lease renewal, they would have done something about it too. Ask Hyatt. They got jerked around all the way to the end before they got their lease. And by that time, all kinds of stuff hit the fan. All right. Let's take a real quick break. We got some sponsors to give you some love for. So we'll be back with more about all these things and with your calls after this, 789-2323. We'll talk to you in just a little bit.
Hey, I'm Coach Derek Cutting, the owner and founder of Laddie Built Fitness. So no matter who you talk to here at Laddie Built, everyone feels that they are part of a family, part of a group of like-minded people. No one feels judged. No one feels like they're being teased or picked on or looked down upon because maybe they don't know what they're doing. They could be brand new and have no idea what they're doing. They might be overweight or really skinny and feel very self-conscious about themselves. But at Laddie Built, nobody judges here. And if you ask anybody here that might be in better shape than you or even not, but has experience in the gym, they will gladly help you through a workout and teach you a few techniques that could help you. So Laddie Built organically from day one, since the boot camp era, has organically grown this fostered environment of community and being a safe place, but a strong work ethic community of people that want to get work done. All I can say is that I put my heart and soul into it from day one. I treated everyone like that at the boot camp from the very, very beginnings, and everyone at the same time would treat each other like that from the boot camp era as well. And as we grew, as we got into a brick and mortar facility, we got bigger and bigger. I feel like people definitely just take this place as a home, as like their brother and sisters are working out next to them, not their enemy or not their competitor, So organically, it's just the vibe here is different. Everyone feels very, very comfortable, and I love the fact that it happened like that.
Got Medicaid? Paradise Dental's got you covered. Got you covered from the moment you walk in the door with some of Saipan's best smiles. Medicaid covers your fillings, your extractions, and your checkups with no out-of-pocket expense. And Medicaid covers all of your x-rays without any additional cost to you. So remember, if you've got Medicaid, you're covered. Don't wait for a toothache. Call Paradise Dental today. Come here often.
Hi, I'm Shauna Brenfleck, nurse practitioner and owner of Island Skin Solutions and Wellness Clinic. We are Saipan's only medical spa offering a wide range of services to meet your unique skincare goals. We offer exclusive medical-grade skincare products that can only be purchased from a licensed medical professional. We also have the CNMI's only master esthetician, who offers new patient consultations that include a mini facial tailored to your needs. Schedule your consultation today to get started on your skincare journey.
Iran and the U.S. talk nukes and sanctions. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. The White House described the weekend meetings as positive and constructive. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Fox explains how important they are to the president.
President Trump is dead serious on this issue. He's dead serious that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. He's said that for 20 years. He's been consistent. That is clear. He's dead serious that he wants it done at the negotiating table. He wants it done peacefully.
Both sides have agreed to more talks next week. A deadly Russian missile in Ukraine on Palm Sunday. Fox's Stephanie Bennett with details.
Officials have released new numbers. Unfortunately, the death toll has risen. They say 34 people have now been killed, including 2 children, and a further 117 are injured. Now, 2 ballistic missiles struck the heart of the Ukrainian city of Sumy. Officials claim the strike involved cluster munitions in an attempt to kill as many people as possible, they say. April has been a very deadly month for Ukraine as Russia holds the advantage. Back on April 4th, you may remember some 20-odd people were also killed in Zelensky's hometown. Now, elsewhere today, a Russian strike hit a kindergarten in Kharkiv. No casualties were reported.
This comes as Kyiv has endorsed a U.S. ceasefire proposal, but Russia has effectively blocked it by imposing far-reaching conditions. Pennsylvania State Police are investigating a fire at the governor's residence in Harrisburg as an arson. Early this morning, they evacuated Governor Josh Shapiro and his family after the fire broke out. Nobody was injured, but portions of the residence were significantly damaged. In a statement, Governor Shapiro says he and his family woke up around 2 a.m. to bangs on the door by Pennsylvania police. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor, editor-at-large of The Spectator, and editor of the Transom.com daily newsletter. I'm inviting you to join in-depth conversations every week on the Ben Domenech podcast.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcast.com.
An American pastor abducted at gunpoint in South Africa.
Family and friends of Pastor Josh Sullivan are devastated and pleading for his safe return. This terrifying armed kidnapping happening right in front of the congregation, and that includes his wife and children. Police say several masked gunmen broke into Fellowship Baptist Church in the Eastern Cape province. They say the men stole multiple phones from churchgoers, kidnapped the pastor at gunpoint, and drove away with him in his own truck. Police confirmed to the AP the stolen truck was found abandoned in the South African township shortly after the kidnapping.
Fox's Madison Scarpino with that report. Congress continues working on a budget bill. Fox's Gernal Scott with the details.
The House passed the measure 216 to 214, with 2 Republicans voting alongside every Democrat against the budget framework. As the crafting of a final bill begins, House Speaker Mike Johnson on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures said the GOP is turning to the reconciliation process to get a final bill done.
It's the one mechanism that allows you to get around the necessity of 60 votes in the Senate. And that's what's so important because we only have 53 Republicans there.
While Republicans mostly back the bill, one GOP senator, Susan Collins of Maine, said any bill with cuts affecting low-income families and the disabled, she will not support. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Pope Francis greeted more than 20,000 people in a surprise appearance today at a Palm Sunday service in St. Peter's Square.
Buona Domenica delle Palme. Buona Settimana Santa.
The Pope was rolled out in a wheelchair as he recovers from a bout with double pneumonia that nearly killed him. The Pope was not wearing any nasal tubes for supplemental oxygen, as he did last week. He told the crowd, "Good Palm Sunday and a good Holy Week." I'm Kathleen Maloney. This is Fox News.
April 14th, 1865.
Walk the deck, my captain lies.
fallen, cold, and dead.
In Washington, President Abraham Lincoln is shot and mortally wounded by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater. Lincoln, who led the United States through 4 years of civil war and opposed slavery, dies the following morning. 1912, on her maiden voyage, the British luxury liner Titanic collides with an iceberg in the chilly North Atlantic. The Titanic sinks into the ocean less than 3 hours later, killing about 1,500 people on board. 1828, the first edition of Noah Webster's American Dictionary of the English Language is published. 1956, Ampex demonstrates the world's first practical videotape recorder at a broadcasters conference in Chicago. 2002.
I'm just gonna savor this one, and it took a lot of hard work this week. Physically, it took a lot out of me.
In Augusta, Georgia, Tiger Woods becomes only the third golfer in history to win back-to-back Masters titles. And 1935.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter.
Country singer Loretta Lynn, known for her autobiographical song Coal Miner's Daughter, is born in Butcher Holler, Kentucky. Today in history, April 14th. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
All right there, Marianas. Welcome back. It is 8:55 in the morning. It's Monday morning. It's Holy Week. What do you have in store on Holy Week? What do you guys got going on? I am already excited about the walk up to Mount Topchow for Good Friday. The road looks great, and it's just a matter of time between now and then when we're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not a couple of thousand, people making their annual pilgrimage up to the top of Saipan, going up there and seeing what Google Maps refers to as concrete Jesus. Thank you, Google Maps, for being so kind. They really do. It's funny, and it's also not funny, but I mean, like, somehow somebody got to name it that on Google Maps. It's true. You don't believe me? And this is it. This is Google Maps. Concrete Jesus, Mount Topchow. I wish I knew if they could tell you who named it that. Because somebody threw that. I mean, I think it's hilarious and terrible at the same time. Holy cow, Freddie. My gosh, I feel like I haven't seen you since the 90s. I hope all is well over there in Tinian, my man. It's great to see you on here with us this morning, but thanks so much. I know you've been busy. You've been doing a whole lot of work over there, and good stuff for the community, and Tinian needs you. So it's great. I'm glad that you're here today. I'm not sure how I got lucky and got you on the show today, so it's great to see you. All right, so that was a whole lot of show that went pretty quick so far today. And, there's only so much we can. Let's see, is there any other real nugget that I really need to get you today? Oh, this part, we can talk about this real quick. Again, real passing quick. They've got all those tariffs that are going on between the U.S. and China, and that's going to affect us in all kinds of different ways. But one of them is interesting. They're like, wait a minute. iPhones are going to cost $3,500? All right, we'll do these tariffs, but we're not going to do the iPhones. Yeah, no kidding. It is, they took a separate levy to exempt the electronics. Like, we cannot have our phones and our computers cost that much. So we're not going to do it. We're going to dial it back a little bit. And this just happened while we were sleeping, really. I mean, but he's like, hey, all right, well, we're going to exclude smartphones and computers from the reciprocal tariffs from China. All right, sound like a plan? Because it's crazy. But I think what's going to end up happening, by the way, is that the U.S. is just going to start becoming a manufacturing base again. That's probably not a bad thing. I know that it's not going to be great with all the folks who want to, have us be way more environmentally focused. And that's not a bad thing. We should be. But we're going to find ourselves in a rough spot if things ever kick off the way World War II did, because that's what saved us, our manufacturing base. and we were able to make a whole lot of stuff, and we're able to make a whole lot of stuff cheaply. Just imagine what that world war must have been like. And I'm not talking about fighting. Let's just talk about like what it was on the ground for the folks in the mainland. Ford, General Motors, they did not make cars. They made tanks. Regular factory workers were making planes. Right now, it costs us so much money to make these planes. We're going to have to come up with a less expensive version of a badass plane so that we can make a whole lot of them. Right now, it doesn't even seem like we're able to keep planes or helicopters in the air. I have no idea what's going on in the world. Tobot, you were asking about it the other day. I have no idea what's going on with aviation. It is just nuts. And it's worldwide, too. Oh, Luisa says it'll be our 6-year-old's first time climbing. Pray for us. Oh my gosh, I remember, that's about going up to Mount Topchow. I can tell you, I remember taking my kids up there with backpacks, or they were in the backpacks as we hiked up. That's a good little workout. I don't think I'd want to do that now. My kids are a lot bigger. I could carry them, but that would definitely be where I'm telling them, no, you're carrying yourself up to top. In fact, no, put me in one of your backpacks. Ooh, okay, whatever happened to, this is in the comments, Tobot saying, whatever happened to that investor that said they were going to manufacture phones in San Antonio? He went quiet. Man, all those guys who come in, snap their fingers and say that they're going to be doing all this stuff here, I doubt it. It's a little nugget of pessimism I put in there, like a little grain of salt. I'm like, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. But let's, what are you really going to do? Like those guys in Rhoda that are trying to say that they're going to do all this stuff. Just like those guys in Tinian who said they're going to do all this stuff. It just, these guys who just play with the emotions of the people of the Marianas by getting them all excited about stuff, just a bunch of horse hockey. It's like not even worth it. I mean, I'll go and I'll interview them and I'll ask the questions and find out what they've got going on. For sure, I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it. But, I'll believe it when I see it with a lot of those things. And I guess you should too. All right. Hey, next week, real quick, on Monday, next week, we are going to be at Marianas High School. We're going to be teaching some kids. It's not teaching, really. It's like a career day, but this one's going to be about media and how to digest the news that's presented to you and how to know, what is editorialized and what's actually the facts and everything. And we'll be talking to the kids about that over at MHS. I'm really excited about that. And the important thing is, I won't be going in and say, don't listen to those guys, only listen to these guys. No, it's the same thing. You got to hear how the other folks present their facts and everything so that you know what the real facts are, how you can really pick the facts out of the story, and you can pick the writer's bias out of the story, because they do that, man. That's 100% something that happens, and being able to speak to that with these kids is going to be pretty neat. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, anything else that popped up in the last little bit? A lot of you guys sending some messages. Oh, you know what? I will send this over here. Let me see what they sent me first. And if I do this, hold on. Can I just scroll through? Yes, I can. All right, so let's do that. So the folks over at IT&E, IT&E are big partners with us. Wherever we go, we're always using IT&E stuff to broadcast stuff to you. And they were out there doing some great stuff for their island-wide cleanup, and they sent us some photos of their team in action. Just wanted to share that with you as well. You can see them out there at the beach. That looks like Civic Center Beach, where they've got, where Minacha Matau is, that's all Docomoed out. They've got the blue pavilions just north of it, and that's what it looks like, because you can see the canoes in the background, the IT&E pavilions there. And they're out there cleaning up. They got some green waste, and they got some trash out there, volunteering as part of the island-wide cleanup, and just trying to do good stuff in the community. You gotta love it. I mean, if your company ended up doing something like this, send it to us. If your organization went out there and did some great stuff, send it to us too, so we can give you guys your props. I mean, look at all those trash bags. And this is out there at Tank Beach. And this is, again, it's part of the community, and you guys doing good stuff. I want to show off what you're doing. Here's just a short video of them out there doing it. Nice camera, by the way, for this one. All right. Well, anyway, good job, IT&E. You guys deploying folks all over for the island-wide cleanup. And you weren't the only ones. There's a lot of folks who are out there doing it, but thank you being out there at Kalili Beach. And then early in the month, they did another cleanup with the folks from the Northern Mariana Islands Badminton Federation and all the way out there at Tank Beach, too. So IT&E, props to you guys. I mean, I love that we get to work together and that we get to support each other. But it's great to see you guys still out there in the community doing stuff like that, supporting your home. That's what it's all about. Hey, real quick, MVA is looking out to you to win a contest, making some videos, the Marianas experience. I love the one that they had before. It was super cool. And May is Tourism Month, and they're trying to get that going. But they're looking for something short so that you can show what you can do in 3 nights and 4 days here in Saipan. And there's a lot of things you can do in a lot of different ways. And all of the winners are going to be selected in the month of May. Reach out to MVA for more information, 664-3200, 664-3200, and find out how you can get involved today. All right, guys, it's 9:05. That's what we got for you today. We're going to go off and do our stuff, recover a little bit. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to have a big 6 o'clock at the VFW. So veterans, you don't have to be a veteran to go. But veterans, if you want to get out there and rub elbows with some of the folks from the ship, you get to meet the command staff and everybody, and you get to meet a bunch of folks from the VFW in your hometown and the Project Buddy Check guys. Come on up to VFW tonight, 1800, 6 o'clock for you civilians, and it'll be a lot of fun. So have a great day, Marianas. It's my treat to be able to do this kind of stuff with you guys. And we'll be back again tomorrow to talk about everything that happens today and stuff that we missed. And if we missed something, send us a message. Let us know so we can make good on it. All right? Take care. Have a great day, Marianas. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun. Oh. Good morning, Marianas.